शुक्रिया ए हाफिजो इसका रहो करते अदा हिफ्ज़ कुरआन के लिए अल्लाह ने तुमको चुना शुक्रिया ए हाफिजो इसका
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum. Yes, we continue the discussion, Pearls from the Quran. And today we're taking a look at the second half of the third juz of the Quran Kareem and the first 3 quarters of the fourth juz. That is what's recited in the Taraweeh Salah. And Surah Al Imran, the surah from the third juz of the Quran Kareem, the third surah of the Quran. We had Surah Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Baqarah, and now it's Al Imran. The family of Imran. Imran was the mother of Maryam. Maryam was the mother of Isa alayhi salatu wassalam. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala talks about Maryam's mother. إِذْ قَالَتِ امْرَأَةُ عِمْرَانَ رَبِّ إِنِّي نَذَرْتُ لَكَ مَا فِي بَطْنِي مُحَرَّرًا فَتَقَبَّلْ مِنِّي. As soon as she got news, Hannah was her name, that she was pregnant, that she had conceived, she made dua and she said, "Oh Allah, this baby in my belly, I'm making it waqf for the khidmah of Masjid al-Aqsa." Now in that Sharia, there was this concept where you could dedicate your child and say, my child will be dedicated, the life of my child will be dedicated to serving Masjid al-Aqsa, the haram of Masjid al-Aqsa. Now, generally it was male offspring that did that. So it was an indirect request, the Mufassirin write, when she made this niyyah, this intention for Allah to grant her a son. And she said, "Oh Allah, accept this intention from me." فَلَمَّا وَضَعَتْهَا قَالَتْ رَبِّي إِنِّي وَضَعْتُهَا أُنْثَى وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى. Now when she gave birth and she saw it was a female, she said, "Oh Allah, this is a female." And generally this vow is reserved for male offspring. Nonetheless, وَإِنِّي سَمَّيْتُهَا مَرْيَمْ. I am naming her Maryam. And she gave the name instantly, and that's why scholars say there is room to name the child instantly. Like when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam became the father of Ibrahim, the very next morning he told Sahaba that my child was born last night, it's a boy and I'm naming him Ibrahim. So you can wait up to 7 days, there is also basis for that, or you can name the child instantly. وَإِنِّي سَمَّيْتُهَا مَرْيَمْ. Now she makes a dua for her child. وَإِنِّي أُعِيدُهَا بِكَ وَذُرِّيَّتَهَا مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. Look at the first worry of this mother. I seek protection for me and for my daughter and for her progeny from the accursed devil. Because the devil can destroy your worldly life and your life of the year after. Now look at what happened here. Here was a woman who from the onset had a noble intention that my child must serve the deen of Allah. And she had a spiritual focus. My child must be protected from the devil spiritually. Look at how Allah responds. فَتَقَبَّلَهَا رَبُّهَا بِقَبُولٍ حَسَنٍ وَأَنْبَتَهَا نَبَاتًا حَسَنًا. It was accepted in a wonderful way from Allah, by Allah. Now, then mashwara was made with the ulama and they said, look, you made a vow, so even though she's a female, she must be dedicated to worshipping in Masjid al-Aqsa. And then Allah blessed her in many ways. Zakaria alayhi salatu wassalam, her uncle used to come and see her eating fruits out of season. And when he used to see her eating fruits out of season, he was at that time without any offspring. And he knew that Allah had it in his power to bless him with offspring even though he was in his old age. But he thought it inappropriate to make dua when he and his wife were beyond the age when couples normally have children. So one is Qudratullah, the power of Allah. Allah can give you a child at any age. One is Sunnatullah. The system of Allah is that you normally bear a child up to a particular point. But when he saw she was getting fruits out of season, he now made dua and said, هُنَالِكَ دَعَا زَكَرِيَّا رَبَّهُ قال رب هب لي من لدنك ذرية طيبة. He again made dua for pious offspring. See, dua for pious offspring. That's where we slip up. From before marriage, at the time of marriage, at the time of conception, at the time of birth, and forever thereafter, making dua for your offspring. She made dua, Maryam's mother, look at Allah blessed her with such a daughter. Zakaria made dua, Allah blessed him with a son who became a Nabi, Yahya, who was distinguished in many ways. Now, look at what happened. From this one woman's noble intention, she gives birth to this daughter. And from this daughter's actions, Yahya alayhi salam is born, who's a Nabi. And then from this daughter's belly, another son comes, Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, who's also a Nabi. And it doesn't stop there. Look at how Allah accepts Maryam. وَإِذْ قَالَتِ الْمَلَائِكَةُ يَا مَرْيَمْ. Allah says, remember when the angel said, "Oh Maryam, إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَاكِ وَطَهَّرَكِ وَاصْطَفَاكِ عَلَى نِسَاءِ الْعَالَمِينَ." That, oh Maryam, Allah has chosen you, purified you, and preferred you over all of the women of the world. Look at the noble intention of her mother, and now how Allah is exalting the daughter. And from the daughter comes a Nabi by a miraculous birth. Now, the ulama have differing opinions as to whether she was the greatest woman of all time. Some say that at the time when this proclamation was made, meaning in her era, she was the greatest of all women. But then later on, there were greater women that came. Khadija bint Khuwaylid, the first wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Aisha bint Abi Bakr, another wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Fatima bint Muhammad, the beloved daughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So some say that she was the greatest in her time, but these women who came later were greater than her. Others say that she was the greatest of all times, because this verse says, we have preferred you over the women of all of the worlds. There's a narration in Muslim that the best woman of those times was Maryam. The best woman of our time, meaning the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was Khadija radiallahu anha. Some have said Khadija radiallahu anha was the greatest woman. She was the first to accept Islam. Her money was spent in spreading the deen. Allah had sent salams to her from the heaven, and she was the one who gave birth to Fatima radiallahu anha. Others say Fatima is a biological child of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the most beloved, and she's the greatest. Others say Aisha radiallahu anha propagated the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam the most, and she was the beloved wife of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some say Asiya, the wife of Fir'aun, because she accepted Iman in the epicenter of kufr and disbelief. But nonetheless, Allah accepted Maryam. Then Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala goes on to talking about Maryam's son. Ya Maryamu inna Allah yubashiruki bi kalimatin min ismuhu al-Masih Isa ibn Maryam. That, oh Maryam, we're giving you the glad tidings of a word from Allah. A word from Allah. Why is Isa referred to as a word from Allah? Meaning it was on Allah's instruction that he came into existence. There was no father. There was no male intermediary. Al-Masih. Isa is known as Masih. Now, why is he known as Masih? This is very interesting. The scholars have said Masih can come in two meanings. It can come in the meaning of Mamsuh. Masih, masah. You know when you make masah of your forehead to pass your hand over something. So if it comes in the meaning of mamsuh, which means to pass a hand over something, that it could be that because he was purified from all impurities and sins, Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, therefore, he's like, it's been passed over him. He's been cleansed. Or it could be that because Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam passed his wings over Isa alayhi salam, so to repel the devil. Hence he's known as Masih in the meaning of mamsuh, to pass something over. Or according to Abdullah bin Abbas, Masih is in the meaning of Masih, a person who passes his hands over. Not a person over whom something is passed, but a person who passes his own hands. So because Isa alayhi salam, one of the miracles was he used to pass his hands over the ill people and they would be cured. He's known as Masih. So he could be known as Masih in the meaning of Masih or in the meaning of Mamsuh. He's known as Masih Isa ibn Maryam, Isa the son of Maryam. Now the question may come to mind that Dajjal, the Antichrist, he's also known as Masih. He's known in Masih because he's blind in the one eye. As if someone had passed the hand over his one eye and blinded it. So Masih at Dajjal, the meaning there is different. And Masih Isa ibn Maryam, the meaning is different. Or the context of Masih is different. Why is Isa referred to as the son of Maryam? To show firstly that there is no father. To show secondly that notwithstanding his great miracles, he is not Allah. He's a human. He's the son of Maryam. وَجِيهًا فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. He shall be illustrious in this world and in the year after. وَمِنَ الْمُقَرَّبِينَ. And he'll be from amongst those who are brought near to Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Then also, moving on a few verses, Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala talks about Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. وَيُعَلِّمُهُ الْكِتَابِ. Allah taught him the book. Wal-hikmah, Allah taught him wisdom. Scholars say wisdom refers to the laws of halal and haram, different aspects of religion, the practices of the Anbiya. Wat-Tawrata wal-Injil. He was taught the Torah, the book of Musa alayhi salam, and Injil, the book that was revealed to him. And then Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala talks about the miracles that were granted to Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. أَنِّي أَخْلُقُ لَكُم مِّنَ الطِّينِ كَهَيْئَةِ الطَّيْرِ فَأَنْفُخُ فِيهِ فَيَكُونُ طَيْرًا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. He could fashion out of clay the shape of a bird. And then he'd breathe into it and it'd become a living bird with the permission of Allah. It was not his accomplishment. You see, Allah granted every Nabi miracles relevant to the time. In the time of Musa alayhi salam, sorcery was at its height. So Musa alayhi salam's stick could turn into a snake, showing the prevalent trend of the time to be insignificant in front of the powers granted to the Nabi of Allah. In the time of Isa alayhi salam, medicine was at its peak. Allah produces a boy without the intermediary of a father. Here he blows into a clay bird and it becomes a living bird. Then وَأُبْرِهُ الْأَكْمَهَ وَالْأَبْرَسَ وَأُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. He could cure the person who was blind, he could cure the leper, and he could raise the dead from the grave with the permission of Allah. These were the miracles that were granted to Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. Scholars say, and this is the nature of people who are rebellious, people who don't want to believe. Imagine Isa alayhi salam raises people from the dead, and they say, no, these people you're raising from the dead, they passed away now, a few days ago, a few weeks ago. Maybe they never really died. So what did Isa alayhi salatu wasalam do? He raised from the grave the son of Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, Sam. He was dead for 4,000 years by that time, and he raised him from the grave. And scholars say that he told Isa alayhi salam he still has the taste of death, or the pangs of death are still with him even after 4,000 years. But some people still refused to believe. They said, no, this is sorcery. This is sorcery, O Isa. You're bewitching our eyes. And then Isa alayhi salam showed them another miracle. He was able to tell them what they were storing in their own homes. What they were storing in their own homes, he was able to tell them this. So there are many lessons that we learn from here. The central lesson is this: a woman with a noble intention, and look how things flourished from there. Making dua, dua for pious offspring, having a spiritual focus when it comes to your children and to your offspring. And look at how people achieve greatness. When we talk about these women who were the greatest of their times, Maryam radiallahu anha, dedicated to ibadah and worship. Khadija radiallahu anha, a rock of support to her husband, spending in the path of Allah. Aisha radiallahu anha, teaching people about the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and achieving greatness as a result. May Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala grant us the ability to take benefit from the Quran. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa baraka ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
अब्बू अम्मी को खुदा वो ताज कल पहनाएगा, जिसके आगे चांद सूरज को गिरहन लग जाएगा। शर्त बस ये है ना हो कौलो अमल में फासला, हिफ्ज़ कुरआन के लिए अल्लाह